Okay, welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is doing well today. We're about 6 or 7 weeks out from the undisputed fight between Tyson Fury and Olexsander Usyk, scheduled for the February the 17th. Amazing fight. Tyson Fury is looking for sparring partners, or, he should be looking for this sparring partner. Opetaia has come out and said he's basically waiting for the call to spar Tyson Fury. He is the absolute perfect sparring partner for Tyson Fury, and in this video I'm going to explain why.
Boxing.
As soon as they call me over, it's all been in the talks and it's all getting organised, so I just got to keep training, and when they make the call, I'll fly over and get it done.
Okay, I hope everyone is doing well. Shout out to all the subscribers, much love to you, and gratitude to anybody new locked in. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Right, so Opetaia, look, phenomenal fighter, okay, definitely the best cruiserweight in the world. He's slowly breaching that top 10, if not in the top 10 pound for pound, if you do that kind of thing. But he's a great fighter, and he also fights similarly. He has similar moves and similar rhythm and similar style to Olexsander Usyk. He is a bit more aggressive by nature. He's a little bit more powerful. He doesn't quite have as much IQ, and he doesn't have as much lead hand trickery. But let's talk about why I think, this is just my opinions, of course. I'd love to hear from you guys. Put them in the comments if you have any additional reasons as to why he should be in camp. Now, first and foremost, why he should be in camp is, well, number one, he's obviously one of the best fighters, southpaw, cruiserweight in the world. So he's got that cruiserweight stature that Usyk was. He's very tenacious, and he comes with an attitude that is, unbelievable right now. Opetaia made a film study about him, about his mentality and his style. I'll leave the link up here, but it goes into, a lot of his mindset. Okay, so going in there, you know that saying, steel sharpens steel. Well, he's going to get the best version of Opetaia if he's allowed to. When I say that, it's like, I hope there's sometimes in camps you do have agreements on how hard sparring should go. They just need to let Opetaia come in, if they do, and let him off the lead, basically, because this guy is going to really help Tyson Fury in such an amazing way, with his attitude and with his his energy that he brings, and just his sheer determination and his will to probably try to get the best out of sparring and try to put it on Tyson Fury. You want sparring partners that are going to do that. Not all sparring partners do that, and like I said, sparring can be agreed upon, whether it's going to be more technical or whether it's going to be this and that. Don't put any stipulations on it. Just let him come in and be him. And him is an amazing fighter who's going to want to be aggressive and put a lot of pressure on. And I know Usyk doesn't fight quite like that, but these are the technical parts now I'm about to mention are why I think Opetaia should get brought in. Now, number one, or two, whatever way you look at it, is his foot speed. Now, this is probably the most important technical aspect that it could be advantageous or will be advantageous for Tyson Fury, because he's openly said in the past about how his most trickiest opponent was Steve Cunningham. I know he's not a southpaw, but he's obviously, or was, a cruiserweight himself, fast on his feet, and gave Tyson Fury a lot of, he called him a slippery eel.
Cunningham was the hardest fight I ever did have in my whole career, amateur or professional. The reason being, he was very slippery. He was light on his feet, he was weighing 208 pounds. He was a slick, talented boxer, and I tried to walk him down, use my size and power, but he was just outboxing me. First round, according to CompuBox, Fury. Oh, he's knocked down.
Which Usyk is a slippery eel as well. Opetaia is a bit more sturdy, but his footwork is like a ballerina's. When he steps in with that foot, that lead foot. I'll show you some clips now against Jordan Thompson and Ellis to a lesser extent, but he has the ability to flash that foot in a split second to get that outside position, which you need to do against the southpaw, to land, to get that backhand in line, to get the leverage on it. And the foot speed, that's something you can get used to a little bit if you are Fury and you are having to deal with this in and out style, which obviously, look, we know that in and out style is heavily based off of the Soviet style, right? The pendulum step. Now, I mentioned that in my film study, and somebody laughed at it, saying, so I wasn't calling it a Soviet style. It has elements of it. A Soviet style is a bit more defensively responsible, like Bivol, for example. You know, they don't commit quite as much, and they use far more lead hand defensively and offensively. We'll get to the lead hand soon, but for the most part, that bounce where it's in and out, the timing, it's a lot on rhythm, and it's his foot speed that is going to be a nightmare. And Usyk does the same thing where they're bouncing and they step in to get that outside position, and then they strike. And that's what Usyk was doing so many times against AJ. That's what he does in most of his fights. That is going to be something that he might have the fastest feet in the cruiserweight division right now, or maybe even in the heavyweight division as well. Maybe outside of Usyk. I don't know, to be honest with you. They're very similar, Opetaia and Usyk. So like that right there is, you know, the style, his foot speed, his attitude, and then there's a couple more things I'll talk about now. The lead hand, okay? Now, Opetaia's lead hand is developing, okay? It's nowhere near as advanced as Usyk. Now, you talk about lead hand and its uses. It's like you have somebody with a really good jab, and then the extension to that is somebody with a really good lead hand. I mean, they're like openings on how to control a fight and what to do with it. Just it opens up so many doors. For example, Olexsander Usyk, his lead hand, right? If you notice that they'll move it around like this, it's like a magic wand, right? If you imagine them being magicians, it's like their little magic wand. Now, they're using a lot of trickery. They're obviously trying to distract their opponent, but the way Usyk uses it, he'll swivel it around and then he can come under. Because when you have southpaw against orthodox, you have that jousting situation, right? And you're going to have a taller guy with Fury who's going to have the advantage. So he's going to be able to parry down Usyk's lead hand, okay? He should. Usyk, interestingly enough, Fury does have a low lead hand himself. He does like that up jab, which could be a disadvantage for him, to be honest with you, because you're not going to get, if Usyk's coming in like this and Fury's going to come in like this, already from a trajectory standpoint, he's already going to be at a negative. But Usyk will be using that lead hand. Okay, he can either use it to parry down the lead hand of Fury, come in with the backhand, or he'll do this and then he'll come in on the inside of Fury's jab and shoot a jab up like that. Or he'll use that to blind you or distract you, or, you know, whatever trickery he's using to set up his other punch. Typically the backhand. Now, Opetaia, if you notice, he'll do that a little bit, but it's got a less, there's less education behind it, and that's going to take a bit of time to develop, but it is getting better. But nonetheless, the rhythm is there, okay? So he's going to, you know, it's like a snake charming situation, really, because they're really trying to set you up for the backhand. But it's the footwork, the snappy feet, that trickery with the lead hand, and I know he's not going to get it on the same, like you cannot find a better southpaw right now on the planet. You will never be as lucky to have a J. Opetaia, in my opinion, for the biggest fight of your life. When he's blossoming right now, he's right there. They need to call him in now and get this dude in camp, because he is a perfect sparring partner for Tyson Fury to be fighting Olexsander Usyk. And look, obviously, Opetaia's more physical, very strong. He's got more power than Usyk, but you know, he isn't quite as smart, and he doesn't quite know how to use the lead hand as well. I mean, very few fighters do, but perhaps in a few years from now he will have developed it, because I see him trying to use it more and more. But it's his tenacity, it's his professionalism, it's his energy, it's his attitude, it's his foot speed, it's his lead hand, it's his commitment to hopefully putting you know, his best foot forward and getting the best out of Tyson Fury. That's the thing. It's like, if you bring this guy in, he's going to get the best out of you, because he's not one of these fighters, I doubt, that's just going to sit back and, you know, have a little sparring match. Because I know Jared Anderson mentioned that, you know, when he was sparring Fury, he found it boring. Now that worries me, in the sense that was he told not to be as aggressive, or was Fury just that good and outboxed him? It could have been the latter, but I do wonder if Jared Anderson was told to ease off a little bit, because you can't imagine if Fury would have just played with him that easily. I know Fury would have, you know, he's a superior boxer, but I do wonder about the intensity of that sparring. So if they're going to bring Opetaia in, which I will find out soon, because, you know, they've only got a few weeks left, really. You don't count the last week for sparring, so we've got like 5 weeks. You really should get him in there now. I don't know what the weight is. Obviously, we've got New Year coming up or whatever, but they need to get going. Bring this guy in. Get used to that foot speed. Get used to that rhythm, that pendulum step that Opetaia brings, that Usyk brings, okay? Usyk has got far better upper body and head movement. Not saying Opetaia doesn't have that, but he's nowhere near as fluid on the upper body. He's got these just unbelievable ballerina type feet. They're so fast. And, you know, he's just looking to set that backhand up for the most part. Now, I know there was someone that in the comments that asked me to touch on the Ellis fight, which I actually did in the Day of Reckoning review that I posted yesterday or the day before. I'll touch on it now for those that didn't see that. It was only 2.5 minutes long, right, the fight. But this shows you a little bit of intelligence that Opetaia was doing, because first of all, that was obviously a mismatch. But if you watch how many variations he was doing with the lead hand, right, or his backhand, excuse me, he was shooting backhands to the stomach, all right, and he was shooting straight hands. Then he'd shoot an over one. Then he would shoot it to the chest. Then he'd shoot it to the stomach. And then, like, when he was using his lead hand like that, and Zorro just did not see it coming. And then he had the lead hand down here, and he whipped it round. That's IQ, okay? That's like why I'm saying more intelligence come out of this guy. And he landed a perfect shot and wiped him out. And there's really not much more to talk about, to be honest with you. That was a beautiful shot. He set that up. He must have been about the 7th or 8th, alternating the backhand. That was the key to that shot being landed. And obviously foot positioning. His foot positioning is amazing. So, anyway, let me know what you think about this guy and about him potentially fighting Tyson Fury, because if they don't bring him in, that, to me, is a massive, massive, massive miss. And it says a lot about what kind of energy they want to deal with in this camp, because he's got to take himself to a place that he's not been for a while, I think. I'm going to do a Keys to Victory video soon about this fight. And one of them, the key to victory, I'll just tell you now, for Tyson Fury is I don't think he's got enough time to get in the best shape of his life, because he needs to try to get as close to Wilder 2 camp status. It's just, look, he's not going to be that solid and muscular, I know, because this was a few years ago, but he's got to channel that energy, try to get to that point where he's done everything he can, and doing everything he can will be bringing in the best guys and have them put it on you like, you know, like it's a fight. Fighting Opetaia every day. Can you imagine how much better he'd get from that? That would be the best preparation you could find. And, you know, obviously, will he walk down Opetaia? Will he be able to practice that? Because a lot of people think that Fury isn't going to be able to box and sit. And me being one of them, I thought that initially, but really and truly, with the foot speed, with the lead hand trickery, I think perhaps maybe he doing a bit of them all. But if he just sits back there and boxes with him, I don't think that's a good idea for the whole fight. So will he be able to practice walking down a tough, strong, young, hungry, say young, or is he late 20s, fresh guy that, you know, is just going to bring it? It's very intriguing. We should hopefully find out in the next week. You don't want to take it too long, you know. You want to get this guy in as long as you can and let him off the lead. So Fury has the best opportunity to be the best version of himself, because he's going to need to be the best of himself, and he's going to need to be in the best of his life to beat Olexsander Usyk on February 17th. Let me know your thoughts. I'm out of here boxing on the edge. Thanks for watching, man. Peace and love.